I had space this morning to have a slow morning and have breakfast out and be in that really nice, reflective, receptive space that is often accessible through, just having something domestic taken care of. Something as simple as receiving a cup of tea to a table um, gives me some room creatively just to allow ideas to flow more freely. And I was kind of taking some notes as these ideas were coming up for me, and as I was reflecting on this kind of social justice thread in relation to voice and the way that we show up in the world and how we respond to our environment. And I'm looking down here because I'm gonna make reference to these notes because I just feel like this is an interesting, I'd like to open up the conversation around this and extend that invitation for others to participate. I was thinking about how important it is for us to understand how we respond as individuals to power structures. So in our environment, this could be in our personal life, our professional life, inherently the systems and structures that surround us, that make up our everyday experience. It is really supportive to understand how we relate to those, and in the sense that when we have an understanding of our reaction, our response, our default position, getting a sense of when we are either limiting ourselves or we are in a place of resistance. Having clarity around this is so helpful because it means that we can recognize the points where we have reached a limit in our capacity to advocate for ourselves and where additional support might be required. And woven into that, there's this reminder for me, really, but we are trying to navigate systems which have been designed specifically to remove voices from the conversation. And as a result, the representation within these structures means that that language maybe doesn't even include us in that reality. It might not have that person-centered or trauma-informed lens. And these qualities, I know in my own work and my own conversations with peers, it's something that we're actually having to construct in real time. And we're doing this with friends, family, colleagues, other professionals, but crucially, those who are actually aligned with this belief in and call towards centering, or at least including, a social justice piece as part of the way that we are walking in the world. And with that being said, for me, there is this reminder of not everyone sees it this way. Not everyone wants to help build this reality or to undermine the current power structures that are at play. because there is maybe a benefit there for them. And also, in order to do something different, this requires work. It requires self-reflection. It requires accountability. It requires uncomfortable conversations about what is not working, and trial and error with creative problem solving. So these were the little notes that I took myself this morning, just tapping into this undercurrent really of, it's a kind of flavor that is that I'm swimming in, personally, professionally, trying to navigate, trying to build networks and community around an upholding and a valuing of this theme, and also building the tools and skills to continue to navigate in spaces where maybe these qualities are not present, and actually there is an undue pressure or influence or imbalance really in dynamic of a particular space or structure, operating system, that doesn't afford us an equal standing point, to be able to actually intersect with that space in a way that feels empowering. And that will continue to be an experience and a reality. And therefore, that's why I feel like it is really important to get to know ourselves in relation to those challenges, so that we can focus on the areas of development that are going to support us in the best way possible. Because sometimes there will not be an advocate or an ally there in a particular environment, and we have to rely on our own resource. But equally, when we know and are primed for entering into spaces where we recognize that support might not be available in the way that we would like it to be, we can prepare for that by drafting in support from other places that are, that's going to bolster us, that's going to help us to feel more confident. It's going to give us some insight into the territory. Maybe that additional support will help us with the language that we actually need to be able to navigate that space in a way that advocates for our own needs. So that is today's reflection, and I would really be grateful to hear about how this relates to your own experience in your personal, professional life. Are these themes coming up for you? What is pressing and important to you at this time, in regards to understanding your relationship to power structures? Let me know.